This is a personal unit and I'm not getting paid, or I'm not getting paid, period. And not getting influenced to say anything good or bad about this beast of an IM. Hope you enjoyed the review. Bye. I hate you, but I love you. The Sony MH755 MMCX modded. Yeah, these TLDR, buy them. These are great. And they're $8. That's basically the whole video. They're cheap and they're decent. Decent for the price of $50. And they're $8. Let me get my notes for this thing that I hate. First of all, when I first listened to these, I got so mad. Okay, I got so mad. Why did Sony heard from this holes, and think, oh, I think they're worth $8, or we should just put them as a bonus from buying a cheap phone. Beware of fakes, yeah. There are lots of fake. If you get the black ones, they are usually fake. Most of them are fake. The white ones are mostly original, but not all of them. If you see the black hole, the black filter here on the tip, yeah, that's what the original should like. That's what the MH755 should look like. If you have like white hole or in the middle, white dot, or the black filter would just be a little bit in the middle, yeah, you got a fake one. So yeah, beware of fakes when buying this, which you will buy them because they're cheap and they're worth like a cup or 2 cups of Frappuccino, which you could live without for like a day or something. I don't know. I don't usually drink that shit. Are they giant killers? No. Hell no, they're not. They're $8. Would you really think that this would compare to that? I don't think so. But will this compare with these though? That's a big question. Because I will compare it to them later, okay? Build. They're built like $8. That's it. Cheap. The IM itself, the head itself. Let me get it. I don't need to remove this. I'm not strong enough. What? This actually built okay. However, the cable, which led me to do this, the MMCX mod, is total crap. They're very, very short. If you use a dongle DAC, for example, like the ES100, I'm sure you'll be fine with the shorter cable. Short cable might be a plus for you, but for me, if I use the topping NX4, I got the ES100 right there, but when I'm sitting down, I would appreciate the slightly longer cable. at least 120 centimeters, or like, what do you call it in feet? I don't, 4 or 5 feet. Yeah, probably 5 feet long. They have okay tips. They use the orange tips. I never use them. I use the Final Audio's Type E tips. They sound the best with this to me. You can also use the Sony hybrids. They sound good too, but this kill less of the treble, which helps a lot because this don't have much treble to begin with. And oh yeah, fit is very key with this thing, because the difference when you listen to this with a bad fit versus a good fit versus a good fit, which actually not good, but you think that it's good, it's just night and day. I mean, they're very different. When I first tried this, I was in my friend Jason's house when he said, "Hey dude, just demo this." I was still an audio noob. I only got the MX4, what's it called? M40X, yeah, M40Xs. When I first visited his house, and he just told me, "Dude, just try it. It's like $8." And I was like, "Yeah, they sound at $8." And he would just stare at me, and we both just stared at each other for like a minute, and was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." But when I actually tried this for the second time, I actually used my own ear tips. I used the Sony hybrid tips, and suddenly the sub bass and everything just sound magical to me. They're like amazing for $8. I'm not saying that these are like insanely good, but it's good. It's good for $50 IM, let alone $8. Okay. Very portable. Yes, they are very small. You can put it up your ass or something, wherever you want. But they tend to need a bit more power than usual. Not as much as the finals though. This is the final E3000, which is very good, but I'll do comparisons later. The blondes though, this need a bit more power than the blonde 03. I'm not comparing them to the blonde 05 because they're basically a downgrade of this, in my humble opinion. Okay. Very portable. The sound quality trifecta, the bass, this have a very good bass extension, sub bass extension, which is a very good plus for a cheap IM. Anything is actually a plus in cheap IM, but this has actually good sub bass extension, better than any of these. This is Yes10 Pro, by the way. Any of these, extension wise. Not the thump, not the kick, nor the slam, but the extension is, I like it here more. This is a very sub bass focus IM, and also it doesn't kick as hard as any of these. Probably on par with the finals though. They actually kick pretty hard, but because of the they don't have enough mid bass to support the kick, because they don't really have enough not enough, they have more than enough mid bass, but they don't have a lot mid bass. Unlike these two, they have like okay amount of mid bass, but because of the Veach, later I'll get to this later. The mids though, now the mids are very good, very detailed. The most detailed part of this IM, because this is actually not a very detailed IEM, but the mids are the most detailed among the bass and the treble and the mids by far. And it has a bit of the high mid shout around that 3K, probably 3K shout, which is very apparent when listening to female vocals or trumpets, not trumpets. What do you call that? Yeah, trumpets actually, not saxophone. That's different. And they also have a bit of a scooped out mids. Now, here's what I'm trying to say before. This has an elevated high mids and lower treble, which means, oh, and they have an elevated sub bass, which means when you look at the graphs, you'll see that huge V shape forming between those two, and this V shape would make you feel that there is something hollow between them. This is supposed to be a Harman tuning, but it's not really Harman tuning. It's a bit more V-shaped than Harman tuning, and Harman tuning itself would have quite the problem with hollowed mids, while the more V-shaped of this, more accentuated, more boosted upper mid range and sub bass would elevate that hollowness, sense of hollowness, which is kind of annoying to me, but doesn't bother everyone. If you're very sensitive to mid-range, to about 1K or 800 hertz to like 1.5K, this would be fine. But if you are sensitive to shoutiness, I don't think this is for you. The treble region is not the best. It's definitely the least detailed among the three, and it's a bit more subdued because of the peak and the shout and the sub bass emphasis, and the air frequencies here are present, but not enough to balance out that V shape. Tonality wise, however, this have a very neutral, very good tonality. A bit dry, but overall it's very good, actually, especially for $8. For some instruments, such as the drums, like I don't know which part of the drums that does, not the bass drums, but like, what do you call that? Yeah, drums, but drums in general would sound thinner than what you would think a drum would sound like, and cymbals don't sound that natural because of the lack of decay and the lack of treble emphasis here. And also female vocals tend to sound more drier than what I prefer as what I see as neutral. Staging, they're good. They have average height and width, although a bit bigger, a bit larger than these. That's amazing for an $8. But depth wise, yeah, it's okay. It's just okay. Stage and imaging are both okay. The details and resolution, yeah, don't look for an $8 IM if you're looking for detail and resolution. But the mid-range detail is actually pretty okay. But the overall detail left a lot to be desired. So yeah, you might think, oh, why are you shitting on the MH755? You told us to buy them, right? Yeah, but all this is considering this as a $50 IM. But this is 8. So this has extended sub bass for a $50 IM. Very decent mids for a $50 IM, albeit a bit scooped out and shouty, yeah, but they're 50. No, they're 8. My brain. And these have a bit subdued treble for a $50 IM. This has a very good tonal and timbre. Oh yeah, and this have a dynamic driver timbre, which is a bit more natural than these, which have BA timbre. Very good. Average to a little bit above average staging and in width and height and depth. Yeah, average imaging and not a very good resolution and detail, but mid-range detail is still okay for a $50 IM. But this is 8. This is 8. What are you waiting for? For comparisons against the blondes, there is something between me and the blondes. This is good. This is great. This is amazing. But to me, they're just okay. They're just okay. I mean, I like them. I like them definitely for $30. They're very good for $30. But I don't think this is something you would run a marathon for. I mean, like, they're good, but they have bass bloat and not enough treble. Basically no treble here. But they have like insanely good mid-range, so it's worth $30. If I were to buy a stock BL3 or a stock MH755 for the same price, they're like both $30, I'll buy the blondes. Why? Because this has absolutely garbage cables. Not the sound wise. They don't sound different after I mod it before I mod it, but they just make me not want to wear them. If you understand, if you get it. Because yeah, they're shitty cables. But if I can get them modded MMCX, if I would compare them to the blondes, I would prefer this because the bass bloat, the mid bass bloat here is killing me. I love bass. I mean, I have the Sony, the modded Z7s here, like lying around. I love them. But there's a difference between good and bad bass. A difference about good and controlled bass. That's modded, by the way. Don't buy them unless you want them modded. And there is a bass that just ruins the whole music, which is disappointingly this is that mid-range wise, like the mid-range tonality, the timbre of the mids, this slays all of these. But I just can't take that bloat from here. I tried using different ear tips. Some of them actually with this, actually the Sony ear tips helps quite a lot. I'll review Blonde and everything I've tried with them later, and every pairing I've tried with them later, because the review's coming up for this. But now let's go to the ZS10 Pro, because this one's more interesting. Just get the MH755. Okay, we'll skip the ZS10 Pro. There'll be a review for that in the future. I'll tell you why this is an easy disqualification against this, because this is just that much better. These are decent. These are actually decent. These are actually decent for a $50 IEM. But this is just that much better. However, the final E3000 though, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. This is definitely a darker set of IMs. When you listen to these, you'll see when you get from like what I'm wearing now, my beloved EX1000, and you listen to these, you just feel like, where are all those details? Where are all those treble? Where are the air? But what you don't lose is, I shouldn't explain about this. I'll just compare it. I'll be wasting your time. I'll just compare it with this. I love the mid-range tonality here better. But I love the bass and treble of this. This have better kick, better slam. But this doesn't have enough sub bass for me to like it more than this. The bass wise, mid-range wise, the sheer separation and detail of the mid-range of the E3000 is not astonishingly, but noticeably better than here. The tonality of the mid-range, I really love it. Not as much as the blondes though, but these, even though the graph says that their bass are exactly the same, doesn't have the bloat qualities of here, because the bass here are actually a bit faster than the blondes. Blondes would have like killer decay, but still, comparing these to these two are very comparable. And these are $50, about $50, maybe probably $45. I forgot where this was it. But these are $8. But I prefer the E3000. Yeah, just buy both of them. These are $8. But I like the blondes because the blondes are great. Yeah, I know, it's great. I agree with you. But these are great too, and they're $8. They're $8 flipping. Okay, I compare them to the Starfields, but my Starfields are with Jason right now. He's reviewing it currently at this time. Probably not. He's sleeping. This is like 3 a.m. in the morning. He's probably asleep now. But just buy these. These are great. But beware of fakes though, yeah. And remember, the fit is key. Big PP. Okay, I guess that's the review. And nothing else notable. I'll absolutely compare these with those when I'm reviewing those in the future, when we are reviewing those in the future, because this is a double review where I review the same IM as Jason's, and just make sure to make sure to watch Jason's video. I'll link it down in the description below, or I'll probably put it somewhere here. He has different tastes and different approach in reviewing IMs from mine, so definitely go check him out. Yeah, see you next time.